We're looking at Xfinity for the Indianapolis Road Course here. I'm gonna wait till I get back on Thursday to do the. Actually, I'll be back tomorrow. Anyway, I'm gonna wait to do the Cup Series preview either on Wednesday or Thursday to try and make it to where that video does not just get buried in the algorithm, but it'll still be early enough to where you can listen to it on Thursday evening, Friday, whatever the case is. But let's look at the Xfinity Series race here and what I think we can have a good idea of what we might see. And so when we're looking at Indy, we do need to throw out last year's race at Indy, because that was a disaster. I made a rant. We don't need to really go into that. We understand why it was a disaster, okay? We don't need to harp on that fact. So when we're looking at how guys have performed this year and how teams are performing this year on the road courses, it's Ty Gibbs and AJ Allmendinger for our choices in terms of leading laps this week and winning this race at Indy. I find it hard to believe that anybody else is going to be a contender for either one of those categories. Another main thing that we have going for us this week is that there is a gigantic entry field. 42 cars fighting for 38 positions at Indianapolis this weekend. So we're going to have the 4 worst cars removed. Now, granted, yes, people can get in on owner points and stuff. However, like, for the most part, if you're not making it on speed, it's because you're slow. All right, that's just how it is. So we have that to be happy about. When we're looking at the field, if I can pull it up real quick, we have no Cup drivers in the field that is worth considering. Now, I understand you're looking at entry and be like, but there is a Cup guy in this. It's Bubba Wallace. He's in the 18 car. Okay, project him for 8th and move on with your day. Once we're past that point, Ty Dillon is also in here. Now, do you guys remember that Ty Dillon was just owned to the moon and back the last time he drove the 6 car? When there was clear evidence out there saying that this was a JD Motorsports car prepared by JD Motorsports, okay, with assistance from RCR. That means JD is running a JD motor. They're running a JD car. They got this car set up. RCR is there helping during the weekend, okay? It's Monday. Never mind. It's Tuesday right now, and so, we got time to see more information come out about Ty Dillon and the 6 car. But outside of that, look, it happened last time. I can't expect Ty to do much in the 6 car. Okay, we have Chase Briscoe in the 07. Does Chase Briscoe contend for the win? Now, he is the guy that I would maybe throw in to compete with Ty Gibbs, to compete with AJ Allmendinger. However, I would probably project Chase Briscoe to run about 6th and 7th today. Outside of those main contenders, it's the usual Joe Schmoes. The people we want to look at. Parker Kligerman, we need to see if he's sponsored. I am not concerned about the car that Gase Motorsports is bringing. I just want to know if we have a real sponsor behind the 35, because Parker Kligerman can certainly wheel it if he has a good sponsor backing him up in this 35 car. Casgralla in the 48. This is a situation that I am very much looking forward to. I'm glad Casgralla is not in a team that does not have a car worth competing for or worth competing with. The fact that he is with Big Machine Racing in the 48 car, the perfect time for Casgralla to show what he can do. Remember that he did finish 3rd, not 30. I believe he finished 8th driving the 3 car for Austin Dillon when he missed the Daytona Road Course due to COVID. Maybe it wasn't 8, maybe it was like 13. Whatever the case was, Casgralla performed extremely well. This situation where, hey, Casgralla is actually in a good car for once. I'd like to see what he can do here. I think we're going to see Casgralla post top 12 times across the board. We have Austin Dillon in the Brandon Motorsports 68 machine. Now, this is not an RCR car. This is not a car that I think Dillon can get a lot out of. This is a Brandon Brown machine for Ty Dillon to drive, for them to understand where their equipment is. So nobody come out here and be like, Austin Dillon's in an RCR car. Yeah, Brandon Brown buys cars from RCR, but this is not an RCR prepared car for Austin Dillon. Let's keep that in mind. Let's keep everything in perspective. Let's understand what's going on. Miguel Paludo has been up and down recently. He'll most likely end up being another place differential play. We'll see how it goes. Preston Parson, 91 car this weekend for DGM. Same story, 15th verse. Gonna compete in the top 12. It just depends on if he gets ran over late in the race and moved into the grass and loses positions, okay? The fact, like this I wish we would go to real race. I wish we were on the oval, first and foremost. Second off, I wish they were running a better road course, because we saw it last year. I'm not even talking about the cars flying in the air trying to reenact 9/11. I'm talking about the guys being ran into the grass, guys not giving room. The first corner in this facility is just built for aggression and moving people out of the way and moving people into the grass. That's a situation to where I think a lot of guys can be moved out of the way and moved out of the reason I'm saying this is because Preston Pardus is a guy who's going to be up there. I would expect Preston Pardus to be up there, probably running 10th on a restart with about 7 to go. Does he survive that? I don't know. Same thing can be said about Andy Lally. However, Andy Lally is finally, yet again, in a good car. Now, Andy, come on. We can't keep you in the booth if you ain't showing up. We can't keep you in the booth if you're taking this actual good car from SS Greenlight Racing and then finishing 25th with it, okay? There's no... I'm tired of Andy Lally being around. Andy, you got to show me something, okay? At Portland, and I think Portland is a really, really good racetrack to compare how guys ran, just due to the fact that I understand practice in the wet. But Portland, I am going... If I can pull up Portland, where is Portland at? Hold on, give me a moment. So when we're looking at green flag speed, I think Portland is a good track to look at, just due to the fact that these tracks are going to race similar. Portland is a very flat track. Road America has a lot of height. I'm going blank on the word. Altitude transition. You know what I mean. It's very up and down. There's the terrain. I'm going blank right now. The terrain at Road America plays a lot more into how cars can handle and stuff. Whereas the reason I'm looking at Portland is because it is flat. It's the flattest racetrack we go to. Okay? And when we're looking at guys that can lead laps and compete for the win, I want to look at Portland. And I want to look at the Portland speed. And then I also want to see how people built on from how they ran at Portland in terms of green flag speed. Because look, when we look at these races this year, we've had yellows all the time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Portland green. Actually, this is Road America. Average green flag run of 6 laps. When we look at Portland, average green flag run of 5 laps. So we're going to have yellows in this race. We're looking at these laps to understand who's going to compete for the win, or at least have an idea, and see if DraftKings' price is justified or not. Those are the places I would look at. Now, outside of that, I think we get yellows here, man. We get yellows everywhere. Every time we go to a road course, we get yellows in these races. This is the reason I think a race similar to Portland is because Indy is flat. Indy is going to carry a lot of speed into certain corners, certainly into turn 1, and certainly down the back straightaway at the chicane that we ran into a lot of issues last year. Now, granted, they're not going to put the jumps on there. I wish they would. Let's just keep the craziness. But either way, we're going to have guys running off the course, running off into the grass, possibly getting into the wall. I mean, can we really look at this field and not expect that from these drivers? Like, come on, man. There's no way that Ryan Ellis doesn't mess up. There's no way that Sage Karam doesn't mess up, okay? Alpha Beta Prime Racing is running out of cars, ladies. I cannot stress this enough. You want to talk about DNF? You want to talk about chassis being destroyed? You want to talk about hard hits that you either have to cut the entire front end off of these cars and start over, or you just cannot repair the damage? Alpha Beta Prime Racing is running into that issue. I think Patrick Gallagher running a 38 car is a very interesting play this weekend. I doubt he's going to be very expensive. He's driving the 38 car this weekend. I like that. I'm very interested in Patrick Gallagher. Kyle Weatherman and the Jesse Iwuji Stolen Valor 34 machine. I think he's going to run well. I think this is a racetrack that leads into Kyle Weatherman. We've seen Kyle Weatherman perform well before, even in horrible equipment. I think that there is so many guys in play here that the reason I started focusing on Portland and the reason why I look at the green flag speed there is because that's going to help decide and dictate the potential lap leaders and some of the teams that are going to arrive like right off the bat. However, the GPPs, the lineups, the optimals, however you want to look at it, is going to be decided from the place differential plays that come through and the plays that don't get wrecked in this race. Okay, like Brandon Brown in the 47, I'm sorry, but you're not making the race, driver. You're driving a Mike Harmon machine. You're driving the 47. I'll be shocked if that thing even makes qualifying. I don't think you even start qualifying there, driver. When we look at other people who are going to be at the very end of not making the race, Philippe Mason, Philippe in the 90 car. I think he's a contender to be slow. I didn't mention Ross Chastain in the 92 car. I want to see what his speed is. We've seen it before to where he's in this car and they're having transmission issues. If we see that he's able to actually do quite a lot of races and actually be there at the end of practice and qualify well, then we can start considering Ross Chastain. But I am very much concerned about mechanical failures in the DGM cars, despite the fact that Pearce is going to be there, despite the fact that Chastain is going to be there. Anyway, that's it, man. That I know we're not really touching on a lot of things here. We do have Alex Bowman in the 17 car. He can be a contender as well. But in terms of lap leaders, I think we're only going to see two guys probably split the race, or one have 3/4 of the laps led, and the other one have about 1/4 of the laps led, and then everything else divulging into who survives late race wrecks and stuff. That's really what it boils down to. And that's kind of why I was comfortable making, early race previews for this, is because, look, it's going to be people who survive the chaos late in these races. I would not be shocked if we have a late race restart. I would not be shocked if we go into overtime. I would not be shocked if we see Briscoe, show up, race up front, and then get wrecked at the end of the race. Like, the Xfinity Series is going to be crazy, and I would argue the same thing for the Cup Series. But yeah, that's where we're at. I guess I'll end it with a bit of concern. I am concerned about Bailey Curry. I am concerned about Scott Heckert. Those are the guys right now that I'm kind of wishy-washy on. I don't really want to try and land on them right now. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Our motorsports kind of probably going to pump the brakes and try and pay down off the our motorsports guys. But that's really where we're at. Early weekend preview, very quick, very digestible, and that's early preview for Indy. We can kind of have an idea of how teams are going to perform and show up based on what they had at Portland and Road America. I lean towards the Portland green flag speeds. That's why I'm leaning towards AJ Allmendinger. That's why I'm leaning towards Ty Gibbs being able to outrun Chase Briscoe, outrun Ross Chastain, outrun Alex Bowman. I think it's going to be those two guys in this race, and we can either confirm or deny that in practice this weekend. But anyway, thank you for listening, and yeah, I will see you guys when I record the Cup Series video, which will probably be on Thursday. So I'll see you guys then.